So good afternoon. We have with us today Francine. That's a French name, I guess. Brevetti, which is Italian.
Italian.
So you're mixed of Italian and French, I guess.
No, I'm Italian, both sides of my family. My mother had a whimsical spirit when she named me, and so I got Francine instead of Francesca.
Really? Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have a lot of Francine in France.
Yes, I know.
Oh, you do know? Okay. So Francine is here. She is a writer, right? You're currently a writer.
I'm a writer.
And you wrote that book that we see here.
Yes, I've written a few books. Here are the two of them.
Catnaps
and Doggy Snorts.
That's for cats and dogs.
Yeah, no, it's about people who sleep with animals.
Oh, could be another animal?
Any animals. There are birds, snakes, livestock. I interviewed over 75 people and their habit of sleeping with their pets, and some of them are quite strange pets.
Okay, okay, but the most common is the dog.
Dogs and cats.
Yeah, I remember 40 years ago there was 60 million cats. I assume that nowadays there's even more.
Well, I don't know how many there are today. Yeah.
But dogs too. We have like as many dogs as people in the United States.
That's right.
Probably 300 million.
At least, yeah. Yeah, 65% of American households have an animal.
Really?
Not counting husbands.
And when I was living in Seattle, some homes had 3 or 4 dogs.
Oh, yeah.
So they had more dogs than kids.
That's right. Well, you don't have to send dogs to college.
Yeah.
And
it's cheaper to have a dog, and they just give you as much love.
Right. Maybe more.
Maybe more. Yeah. They don't argue with you.
Right.
So so are you a pet lover yourself?
I am. I have a dog and a cat.
Oh, wow.
As actually, you met my dog Rosa when I met you earlier.
She's so cute.
Yes,
oh my God.
Yeah, I couldn't bring her because I didn't know how she'd be on camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but she's adorable.
Thank
the way
you.
she gobbles up food, it was just people have to see that. Too bad I didn't have my camera that day, but she is so funny. She's a character.
Yeah, she is.
I have to say it.
Yeah,
I never saw dogs waffle food like that so fast. She has a huge appetite.
Yeah, she's greedy.
Oh, she loves to eat,
right,
and
right.
she can't stop.
Yeah, that's pretty typical of dogs that were rescue dogs.
Really?
Because
they
many of them
didn't
were
have
strays.
food.
Yeah, they were strays. Yeah.
So as soon as they can find food, they love it.
That's right. They get obsessed.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, but yours was funny too, the way that she acted. So I'm glad you got her. She's probably very entertaining to you.
I adore her. Yes.
Oh, she's funny. And how does she get along with the cat?
Oh, they get along great. Sometimes they beat each other up, but most of the time they're very affectionate with each other. Yeah.
But the expression cats and dogs are people who fight.
I know. I don't know why. My animals get along fine.
They do. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And they sleep with you, I assume?
They do. We all sleep together, 3 of us on the bed.
That's inspired you to write that book?
That is not what inspired me to write that book.
No?
What inspired me was the dog I had several years ago, Lola. And when she died, and I realized in the morning I woke up, she wasn't there.
Oh.
It broke my heart. And I thought to myself, how many people sleep with their animals? And so I started doing research. And this is the end of the research, this book about how people sleep with their animals and why.
Why? I guess for comfort.
For comfort, yeah.
Yeah. Also, the
For
animal comes
the love.
to you.
Yeah, the love, yeah.
You don't call the animal. The animal gets out of
Right.
his bed and come to you.
That's right.
Because he's the one who needs comfort too.
That's right. You're right. Do you have animals?
Yeah, I have a dog and he needs love just like a human.
Yeah.
They love to be cuddled.
That's
they love
right.
to have something warm next to them.
Right.
They don't like to be alone in their little bed. So basically, it's on both sides.
That's right.
It's a need on both sides.
That's right.
And how healthy is it to sleep with the dog? Is there any health issue there?
Well, that's something I talk about in a chapter
book?
here.
Okay.
Because people do have concerns about it. And it turns out that we're more likely to infect our dogs than they are us.
Really? But they
But
walk everywhere.
yeah, they lower our blood pressure.
Yeah.
They're good for our heart.
Yeah.
So they do a lot for our brains and our body chemistry. Just
yeah.
their mere presence.
Okay.
And there's a great debate about whether you should have animals next to you, but I think the evidence shows that you're better having them close to you than not.
Okay. So it does, did you say reduce your blood pressure?
Lowers your blood pressure. Yeah.
Because
And it lowers their blood pressure too, by the way.
oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you explain that?
It's just that they lower stress. Their mere presence lowers stress.
And that's what blood pressure is?
Yeah.
Stress?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's affected by stress. Yeah.
But I have stress and I don't have blood pressure, so it must be something else too.
Well, I'm not a doctor.
Okay,
But-
but some people who take...
I go into it in depth in one of the chapters here.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Yes.
so just it's a calming effect.
Yes,
And if you're not calm, then the pressure goes up.
that's right.
Basically
That's
it.
correct.
Okay. But you can have stress and also not have high blood pressure and still be calmed by an animal.
That's correct.
Okay, got it. So it goes whether you have it or whether you don't have high blood pressure. And it's also other element, right? To have a dog, it helps with other elements.
Yes, it does. And now that you've asked me, I don't have the facts at hand, but they're all in the book. However, one thing they're not good for, they're no good for intimacy.
Okay.
With your lover or your husband.
Oh, yeah, you better send them to their
Yeah,
bed.
right.
To their bed, okay.
Yeah, in fact, somebody in here says having an animal in bed with you is the best birth control you can think of.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Right.
I like that one.
Right.
I like
Yeah.
that one because they disrupt.
That disrupt, yeah.
Yeah. I that subject came up to me. I told my daughter, "What are you gonna do if you have someone with you? It's gonna be a problem." And she said, "Okay, yeah, that's why I'm gonna leave him home if that happens." Yeah. So the other thing I see service dogs with is for people who have a little bit of anxiety. Is that correct?
That's a certain kind of service dog.
dog.
It's called emotional support dog.
Emotional
Yeah,
support.
Yeah,
Okay. So
Yeah.
they have someone to cuddle.
that's right.
Okay. But I'm sure there's many other applications to
Oh,
have
yeah.
a dog.
Right. So Rosa is my service dog.
Okay. And she helps you with
She
other
helps
things.
me. She keeps me from falling. I have a balance problem,
Okay.
and just having her there to focus on my feet and where I'm going, just her mere presence keeps
Okay.
me from falling.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Great. Just to know that she's guiding you.
right.
Okay.
And she demands that I focus on where I'm going
Okay.
and on
By
my
looking
feet,
at her.
looking at her. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
it is.
awesome.
She's
So she
great.
probably saved your life many times.
A couple of times. Yeah,
That's awesome. I know a lot of people fall down the stairs after a certain age.
that's
and
right.
that having a dog would probably prevent that.
Yeah, if the dog is trained. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. The
She
dog.
has to be trained to know that I need her.
Okay. So she has been trained by somebody else.
No, I trained her.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great that you have such a wonderful animal. Wonderful dog. I know some people don't want to call them animals because they feel there's a connection.
She's an animal,
She's an animal,
but so am I.
Yeah, exactly. We are animals too. But some people don't want to refer to them as animals because they think it's their friend.
Oh, well, I don't think it's diminishing her importance by calling her an animal.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. So you're not. It doesn't hurt your feeling.
Right,
Yeah.
no. And it
because
doesn't hurt hers either.
Okay,
She's
great.
not insulted.
Okay. Well, does she understand English? By the way, do you speak to your dog a little bit?
I do. I speak to her all the time.
And she understands
Yeah.
a little bit? A few words,
She
huh?
understands. She understands a little Italian. When I say manja manja, she knows
She
that
eats.
it's time for her to eat.
Okay.
And she jumps up on me and starts licking my leg.
Oh, my God. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then she understands your language.
Yes, she does.
Perfect. Perfect. And is there any other things you tell her sit?
Sit when I'm going to give her a treat, she learns to sit.
Okay.
When I say, want to go for a walk, she's at the door waiting for me.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah.
How old is she, by the way? She's so
She's
cute.
probably 5.
5.
I got her 2 years ago as a rescue. She was about 3 years old
3 years old.
then, and so she's probably 5. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, does having a pet? I know that has nothing to do with your book, but is having a pet very expensive?
It's certainly an investment. I mean, dog has to eat, right?
Right. That's one thing.
And sometimes it has to go to the vet.
Right.
And over years of having animals for many years, I have found that pet insurance is not
Good.
not
It's
helpful financially.
To cover your
yeah.
expenses.
Yeah, because
How about dentist? You know?
yeah, they have to go to the dentist once a year at least.
Do you
Yeah.
take her grooming a little bit?
I do. I
You
take her
do?
grooming because she's a long-haired type of dog,
Ah,
and so
that costs $80 each
oh
time.
yeah, at least yeah.
So it's just as expensive as to do grooming for a human.
Actually, she costs us more than my hairdresser does.
She does? Yeah, because she has a lot of hair.
Yeah, right.
So the hair groomer, the dog groomer, does their hair,
Yeah.
cut a little bit,
Right.
and then a little bit their paws, and what else they do?
She looks at her ears and she looks at her behind and makes sure that nothing's stuck or something like that,
Okay.
and gives her a lot of attention. It's really important to find a groomer that doesn't put the dog in a cage while you're waiting. It took me a while to find one that does not, and
That's good to know.
yeah, yeah.
Because
So
you don't want them in a cage.
no, they get very stressed that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while she waits, you wait with her.
No, I leave her for 2 hours and come back and pick her up.
Okay. Okay. So they take care of the shampooing.
Yeah, shampoo and cutting,
Okay.
and
the-
give
the
her
nails?
the nails
And the ears.
and the ears and they dry her hair. You know,
Okay.
yeah, right, yeah,
And then she's good for 3 months, right?
yeah,
Yeah. But it's still an expense.
yeah. It is. I mean, I could get a short-haired dog if I wanted to, and I wouldn't have that normal expense.
Yeah.
But I love fuzzy dogs. So
Oh, yeah, yeah. So once in a while you give her a little shower yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds good. Do you let her commingle with other dogs at the park?
She doesn't really like other dogs, or rather, she likes them too much.
Oh.
You see what I mean? She wants to jump on top and play with them, and I have
Oh.
not yet been able to train her out of that behavior.
Okay.
So I have to keep some control of her. Yeah.
Okay, so you watch her.
Yeah.
Okay, because they have dog patches.
Yeah.
In different parks.
Right.
Where dogs play together.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but I noticed that some dog owners are more friendly to let their dog play with other dogs, and some are not because they don't want them to catch fleas or.
I don't know if it's fleas so much as behavior. They may be worried about how their dog will react. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So you say you covered about 80 types of animals. So people have birds,
Snakes,
snakes,
livestock,
wow,
rats,
a pig.
a pig.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
yeah.
have to feed all these people, all these animals.
I guess they don't feed them all at once.
They gotta eat, right?
Yeah, that's right. They do. Yeah.
And the bigger the animal, the more he eats, right?
That's correct, yes.
Oh, so
But
it's
I
better.
didn't ask them about their feeding behavior. I only asked them about their sleeping behavior.
The
So,
sleeping.
yeah, right.
Which animal is the easiest to sleep with? The
Well,
cat?
dogs are.
Oh, they sleep all night.
They sleep all night. Now, see, I have a cat, and she wakes me up in the middle of the night. Cats are nocturnal. She wants to eat in the middle of the night.
So you take her to the kitchen,
I take her to the kitchen. Yeah.
and then it's harder to take care of a cat because they have the cat litter and all that to change.
Yeah, but I don't have to walk her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's one aspect that's good and one aspect
Yeah,
that's not
right,
as
right.
good. All right, so let's talk about the second book.
Okay.
So you are a writer. You
I'm a
wrote
writer.
that book for
I-
your customers, I
Right,
assume.
Right.
And people read this book to see what's the best way to sleep with their animal.
I think they read it for entertainment.
Oh, because it's funny?
Because there are lots of funny parts in it. And because I think people who sleep with their animals feel embarrassed about it and they like to know that other people do this.
Okay. Most of them do. So if you love your
Yeah,
pet, you
right.
let them next to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so it's just an entertainment
Yes,
plus.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
There are 75 different anecdotes, short
Okay.
stories. Some
Yeah.
are long, some are short.
Yeah.
Different people and their experiences with their animals. That's what it is.
Okay, sounds good. So, so you write that book. You wrote another book I
Yeah.
see here next to it.
Yeah.
What is the second
This
one?
book is called The Fabulous Fuhr, F-I-O-R, Fuhr.
Yeah.
It refers to the restaurant called the Fior d'Italia,
Oh, okay.
which is America's oldest Italian restaurant
In San
in
Francisco.
San Francisco.
And is it good?
Yes, it's good.
Okay. You ate there.
I eat there frequently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they commissioned me to write their history several years ago.
Okay.
And this is the first edition. It's now out of print. It's
Oh.
called The Fabulous Fuhr.
Wow.
And
So they hired you to do it.
yeah,
Okay. And do they give that if their customer want to buy it?
yeah, they do. However, now there's a second edition, but the second edition is an ebook, and it's on my website if you want to look for it, or you
Okay.
can find it on Amazon. The second
This is a
edi-
hard copy.
This is the hard. This is
Is
the
that-
first edition.
Okay,
It's a hard
got it.
copy.
And the story is all documented there.
Absolutely, it's really the history of the Italian colony in San Francisco, and it's told through
So it's
the
also
eyes.
a history book.
Yeah, yeah,
Because there's the other aspect beside the restaurant
Right.
itself.
right, right.
Oh,
right.
sounds interesting, especially the picture on the front.
Yeah,
Shows
so
that's the way
just
the
by
waiters.
Full
Yeah, just by looking
disclosure,
at that
this
picture.
man here was my grandfather.
Oh,
He was a waiter and part owner there around 1897, 1896.
the one standing.
This one right here, this guy. You see,
Oh,
we have the same mustache.
okay. He was your grandfather.
Yeah, I never met him, but I have all stories about him from my mother in the book also. But he didn't
Oh.
found the restaurant. The founder was a man named Del Monte,
Yeah.
Angelo Del Monte, and this is his family. Angelo Del
They all
Monte's
work
family.
there.
They're all there. Yep. Okay. And this is a composite of many northern Italian cities, and it's in the restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah.
so those paintings are on the restaurant
Yeah,
walls.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you wrote a history book.
Right, I did. It
And
was
then- and-
important for me because I had just come back to San Francisco after many years away,
Yeah.
and it was like reestablishing my roots, being able to do this work. It was great.
Wow. So plus you found out about your own roots.
Yeah, right.
Are you like third generation American?
My father was born in Italy. My mother was born here, but her parents are Tuscans. Yeah.
So you're second generation.
Yeah.
Okay. So your parents were first generation.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's interesting. So now if someone calls you and say, write my biography, what's the steps?
Oh, okay. So yes, I do write people's biographies. I also write business business histories. People who come to me and say, I want to write the story of my life
Yeah.
or my family history. So you have to get very focused on exactly how long you think your manuscript is going to be, because that entails the price.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it's an investment, definitely an investment, depending on how complicated it will be.
Do they have an idea how much it costs when they talk to you?
When they talk to me, we have to discuss how much material they think they're going to share with me. Is
Okay.
it just them? Do I have to interview members of their family? Do I have to do some kind of historical research? All of this
How many
affects
pictures they want in
how
the
many-
book?
Yeah, well, yeah. And do they want me to help them publish it? All of this affects the price.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah.
It could be expensive then,
Yes, it is expensive. Yeah, it is.
because it's going to take a lot of your time.
And their time, too.
How much of your time does it need? A year?
I worked with one man for 5 years.
just to dig in the
That was the
genealogy?
longest I ever did.
Okay, so you went and looked at his genealogy?
No, his genealogy was not important. His life was so complicated and so vast. He had such a broad life and so many strange experiences that, and also he needed to repeat many of them.
Okay.
Right.
Was he happy with the final product?
Yes, he was.
He was? Okay. Was it interesting?
It was fascinating. Yeah, it was
Really?
fascinating. This man had a life. Oh. And he didn't want to publish it.
Oh,
He just
until he died.
he just wanted to say it. He needed to hear himself. It was like catharsis.
But
right?
did he say, I want it to be published after I die?
No, he did
He
not
didn't
want
say
it
that?
published. He didn't want it when published. Too bad, because it was a great story, and I tried several times to convince him.
Did you do an actual print book like that?
No, I just did a Word document.
Oh, it's
That's
a
all
Word
he wanted.
document.
Yeah.
Well, if he dies, do you have the right to publish it?
No, I signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Okay, so it's just for himself.
Yeah.
Interesting. But there will be a waste of all your work if you don't publish
Not
it.
if I was paid.
Oh, yeah, no, but I'm
No,
saying...
it was fulfilling for me. I enjoyed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw him change in the 5 years that I worked with him.
As you spoke to him,
Yeah.
it was very...
He became more self-accepting, more funny,
Okay.
more relaxed. Yeah.
So it's like you were like his therapist.
In a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have raised my price.
Yeah. But you get to spend time with him.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah.
It was a great experience. Is he still alive?
No, he's deceased. Yeah.
Who took the material?
His wife did.
Oh, okay. So you still have someone to talk to if you want to publish it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's still hope to publish it.
I
one
don't
day.
think it's going to ever be published.
No.
His family will have it. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. And so you do biographies, history.
And I do business work.
Business?
Yes, I write for companies. Yes.
Okay. What do they ask you to
Well,
do?
they ask me to write an ebook for them, or they ask me to write their website copy or their blog
Okay.
or something like that.
They
yeah.
want to make
Yeah.
done professionally.
Right. Yeah.
Are you good at writing the front page about of a company?
I'm great at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're good at that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that must
So
be
I was a business journalist, for 30 years.
okay.
And so I know kind of what questions to go to and what areas to explore. And
And
things
then you
like
write
that.
the front page
Yeah.
of the website.
Right.
That's interesting. So that's good. That's good. So you said 30 years you were writing
Yeah.
for business.
Yeah.
What did you write about?
Well, first I was a reporter for a New York daily newspaper called the Journal of Commerce,
Wow.
and I wrote about finance and foreign trade.
Okay.
And then I up and left and went to Hong Kong,
Okay.
where I freelanced, all still in business for 12 and a half years.
In Japanese?
No, in Chinese.
In Chinese.
Hong Kong is
Oh,
China.
Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Okay, in Chinese.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know Chinese?
No, I didn't write in Chinese. I wrote about the Chinese business.
Okay.
I wrote in English, yeah.
Okay.
It's hard enough for me to speak Chinese, much less to write Chinese. So.
Okay. So
And
it was
then
in
I came
English.
back 20 years ago and got a job with the Oakland Tribune.
Okay.
And I worked for them for 10 years covering business.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, right now there's negotiation with China about the trade agreement.
Oh, I know. I know.
So they would need maybe somebody like you who has the experience in China.
Yeah, well, they don't need me. There are plenty of people who are experienced with China right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you say you wrote in English while you were in China. Who did you send the
Well, I was a freelancer.
freelancer?
I wrote for the San Francisco Examiner. I wrote for the South China Morning Post. I wrote for several local magazines.
And you would send them the article?
Yeah. And I wrote for a shipping magazine in the UK. And I wrote for a couple of Australian magazines.
So you send them the article
Yeah.
and they say, yes, we want to publish that.
Well, you make an agreement before you write it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard some writer just send it, and if they want to buy it, they buy it.
Well, some people do that, but if you're trying to make a living, you want to make sure where your money's coming from. So you make an agreement.
Oh, in
You
advance.
you write a pitch letter, a proposal. I'd like to
Okay.
write, and they say, or they come to you and say, "Would you write about this, that, and the other
Okay.
thing?" And I say,
Okay. Interesting. How was your experience in China? Was it a good experience?
well, it was fascinating because when I went there in 1985, Hong Kong was not yet part of China.
Oh, really?
But it knew at that time, people there knew that they were going to be moving to China by the end of 1997. So all of the business reporting, all the business concern was understood that we are going to be moving to China, Chinese sovereignty. How will we survive? That's what was on everybody's mind. How can we maintain our business and still be a part of the PRC? So
Okay.
that was everybody's concern. It was very hard to get businessmen and women talk about their concerns on this subject
Okay.
because they were terrified of moving to Chinese sovereignty.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Yeah. So now they're totally Americanized.
No, they're not Americanized at all. They're part of China.
I mean, Hong Kong is very modern now.
Yeah, it's very modern, but it's now part of China. And China has changed, even though Hong Kong didn't want it, has changed their government quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the big influence from the Western world.
Yeah, there's a big influence in the Western world. But I think Hong Kong's lost. I do. I think it's going to be absorbed into the Chinese way of doing things and not for the better. That's my belief.
Oh, okay, okay. So you can still write about it.
Yeah, if somebody pays
There's,
me.
if somebody pays. Okay.
I don't write on speculation.
No, I mean you can call a couple newspapers and say, "Hey, now that the Chinese-American relation is a hot topic, do you want me to write about it?"
They
Bec-
have people there already.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So your next book is gonna be a personal project or something?
Well, I just wrote another book a year ago, which is an ebook. It's called How to Write the Book About Your Business,
Okay.
Even If You're Not a Writer.
Okay. It's a
So-
how-to book.
Yeah, it's a how-to book. So, with more and more entrepreneurs starting their own businesses, many of them have seen that writing a book about their business is a marketing tool.
Okay.
But these people are not writers.
Okay.
So this is just my way of saying, here's how I can help you write your book about your business.
Oh, perfect, perfect. So, let's say a company has been around for 20 years, they can start writing the book.
They can start anytime they want to. Yeah.
Okay. Not if they're just starting like a year ago. Or the story, you mean how they got to do that business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It could have a story, I guess,
Yeah.
already, even if it's a startup.
Right.
We don't know if they're going to survive if they are a startup. Okay. So, anyway, do you recommend this profession to anybody? Is it a good profession?
It's really hard.
It is a hard profession.
It's hard because in the last 10, 15 years, newspapers have been consolidating and closing.
Yeah.
So fewer jobs for journalists,
And more online.
more online, more freelance, more ghostwriting, and more competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're faced with the technology advances,
Yeah.
and there's a different way of dealing with communicating with company who might hire you.
Yes, there are online networks to put freelancers and prospective clients together.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Are you on these sites?
Oh, yeah.
So they could hire you to do it.
They could.
They could. Okay.
And some of them have.
Okay, so you are a freelancer. You can
Yeah.
be hired for a day.
That's right.
For a month.
Well, you're usually hired to complete a project, however long it takes.
Oh, that's already been started. Okay, sounds interesting. I wrote the 18 chapter, and then I stopped not because there was no more material to write about, and then I stopped because I was wondering who might be interested
Well,
in what I have to say.
What was the book about?
It was about my growing up in another country, but I say who might be interested, even though it's also a history book because we moved out of that country. But I was wondering, maybe somebody interested in history like you, or maybe the people of that country might want to read about it.
You have children?
I do. But what I'm saying is, when you write something, you say, who's going to be my reader?
Right. That's right, you do. On the other hand, some people don't care because they just need to tell their story. Like this man I was telling you about, worked with for 5 years. But that's not your case. You want to you want to communicate with the public, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So I think did you write it in English or in French?
French.
Okay.
It could be
So
translated.
Yeah, but you have a French readership. I'm sure
Yes,
you
of
could
course,
sell it.
of course.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is, before anyone start writing a book, they should think about who's
That's
going
right.
to be the
Exactly.
reader.
That's right.
Who's going to be the reader?
That's right.
Okay, so when you wrote this, who's going to be your reader? I mean, did you think about that?
Oh, definitely. You meant this or this? The
This
Fjord
one,
book.
this one first.
Oh, I thought anybody who has an animal would be interested.
Okay. They'll find anecdotes in there
Yeah,
that they can
That's
relate
right.
to.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And then the second one is more
This
like for the business use of it.
No, this was for anybody interested in Italian cooking, anybody who's Italian American,
Okay.
anybody who admires Italian culture, even if they're not Italian.
Okay.
So it's sold very well.
Okay. And there's some recipes in there too?
Every chapter has a recipe.
Perfect.
I didn't write the recipes. The chef wrote the recipes.
Wow.
But every chapter has a recipe.
That's very interesting because the recipe that were used 100 years ago might have been a little bit different.
I'm sure they are. Yeah, they are.
Using them still
Right.
nowadays, maybe. So it's dated 1886?
That's when it was founded.
Okay.
So it's 136 years old or something like that right now.
And when did you write the book?
I wrote it about 15 years ago. That's when I started writing. It took me 3 years because I had a full-time job at the Oakland Tribune, so I was still writing this book.
And now it's completed.
Now it's completed, and it's on Amazon. It's out of print, but you can find collector's copies of it.
It's called the
Fabulous Fuhr. Yeah, Fabulous Fuhr.
And Angela Aliotto is running for mayor now.
Yeah.
And she might be interested to see that book. I videotape her during debates. She's very interesting. She talks about, you can see that she's Italian, very, very lively person.
And the second edition, which is longer than this, is on my website. So anybody wants to can download it for free from my website. FrancineBrevetti.com.
Okay. And there is another version of this.
There's an extended version of it, yeah.
Nice. So, So what's the difference between being a reporter and a writer?
Well, a reporter usually is somebody who works for a publication.
Okay.
A writer can do anything. I can write a poem and call myself a writer, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. There's no certification for being a writer. So
Okay, so basically they both write, but for different purposes.
a writer can write for any purpose, right? It's a pretty broad thing. You can be a ghostwriter, you can be
A romance.
academic writer or something like that, or a
No, but some
fiction
people
writer.
have serial books. Once they finish a book, they write the next book, and they write the next book. So
Yeah,
they,
they're
so-
usually people who write fiction. Usually,
Okay, so they're into it so much they cannot stop writing.
yeah,
It becomes part of their lifestyle.
that's right.
Like painters who get up and they
Right.
do their next painting.
Right.
Are you like that? You write
No,
every
I'm
day?
not. No, I'm not anymore. I used to. I don't anymore.
Okay, so you don't write every day as soon as you wake up.
No, thank God I'm not obsessed like that anymore.
Okay. So it's something you do more.
It's my job, you know.
It's
I
as
have
a job.
clients and I serve my clients and I write for them.
Okay, sounds good. But you one day gonna write your biography? No.
No.
Oh, okay. That's not your cup of tea.
No, I don't think so.
You don't
No.
need to. Talk
I don't
about
need to talk
yourself.
about myself, no.
Okay. Because most.
There's plenty about me online already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but most people who are well known eventually one day say, "Let me tell." Before I die, let me tell people
Yeah.
about my life or something.
Well, they can call me and I'll help them.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for explaining that to us. So the person who is interested in a biography might be a very famous person.
It's
Might
anybody who has the need, the deep down psychological need to write about their life.
Okay.
I mean, if they're a famous person, great, because they'll be
They'll
able
be
to
able to sell it.
sell it better. Yeah.
Okay. Like,
Yeah. So these days, you can't. It's very hard to sell an autobiography with a traditional publisher unless you are a celebrity.
exactly.
Yeah.
Why would the publisher buy it, right?
Right.
So you need to.
But
be
many
able-
people self-publish, and they self-publish because they want to publicize their business or something like that.
Okay, yeah, they go on Amazon,
Yeah.
and then they have companies that print upon
That's
the
right.
order.
That's right.
They don't have to print anything until it's sold.
That's right. Print on demand. That's
Print on
correct.
demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a solution that didn't exist a long
That
time
is
ago.
a great solution.
Yeah, so you don't have to end up with inventory.
That's right. Right. So like when I run out of these, I can order another 20 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with print on demand.
Right.
I forgot the name of the company that does it, but
It's a Create Space.
oh, CreateSpace. That's it. That's it. So you have an order, and you send it. You send them the manuscript,
right.
and they would print that.
That's right. In 2 weeks, I get 20 or something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. So thank you so much. I think I understand what the profession of a writer is, although there's different kinds of writer, reporter. So depending on what your passion is.
Right.
Uh,
Well, of course, there are many writers who write only fiction, right? I don't write fiction. You know, they write novels. I wish I could. I don't have that.
that's not your.
That's not
your
my thing. It's not my
That's-
métier.
You're
Yeah.
more like a reporter of reality.
Yeah.
You-
Non-fiction, we call it.
Non-fiction writing. Okay, so thank you, Francine.
Thank you,
I enjoyed
Aline.
interviewing you. Very interesting
Thank you.
books, by the way.
Thank you.
The history book seems like something that most Italians should read, or non-Italian who wants a few golden recipes. So thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
on All About Your Profession, and
you.
I hope you'll enjoy watching it.
I'm sure I will.
Even though it's not your biography, it
That's
shows
okay.
it tells a little bit about you, right?
It does.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aline. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.